morning, everyone. Thank you guys for being here. I'm so grateful to be here. We are live this morning at Awakenings. This is Solace and Serenity, brought to you by Awakenings. And yeah, I'm just grateful to be here. Grateful to have you guys in our presence, and looking forward to today. So let me share my screen, and I will go through our announcements this morning. So as you know, I may not know, but hopefully you will know after this morning that we are a hybrid community. We meet online every Sunday, or we meet in person the first Sunday of the month. And we meet via Zoom, and you can also catch us live on Facebook. And if I'm not mistaken, we're also going live on YouTube as well, if I'm not mistaken. So on Thursday mornings from 8 a.m. to 8:20 a.m., Lisa Tenney is hosting virtual meditations. So if you would like to join Lisa and her act on your intention to enter silence, your presence deepens our collective practice. So it sounds like a beautiful experience. So if you want to join Lisa, then you can email her at lltenney@gmail.com for the weekly Zoom link and a reminder. If you haven't joined Meditation in the Must, you must do this. This is an absolute must. It's been a pleasure. It's been a breath of fresh air. Music of Divina with music of Kendrick Lamar. And as a little like tidbit, I believe like kind of going forward, they can introduce maybe other artists. Hearing rumblings of J. Cole potentially, and just kind of going through their works and just breaking down lyrics and video, and just finding how like that music and what you represents like resonates with you. And just it's a beautiful space. It's great feedback, and it's just a beautiful experience. So if you would like to join that every third Thursday of the month, I believe we send out. I'm looking to see if there's the person you can. I'm sure you can contact us, and we'll get you the link to register with them and join the Meditation of the Must. So on April 25th of this year, from 11 to 4 p.m., Dr. E. Trey Clark is going to guide us through Howard Thurman's a spiritual guide in times of crisis. So it seems like a great opportunity. It's hosted by the Center for Contemplative Leadership at Princeton Theological Seminary. And it looks like Awakening is co-sponsoring this event. If you would like, you can get 10% off by using the code -10, and there's a QR code right there. You can scan that and join in. And like I said previously, we're also on YouTube. Like we've hit a milestone. Thank you guys for helping us reach 50 subscribers. Let's keep that number growing. I think the more people that know about Awakenings, the more lives we can touch and more blessings that can happen. So please join us on Awakenings. The handle is Awakenings Inc. On YouTube. And if you would like to help join our media and hybrid gathering team, we're just gathering. We're just allowing a handful of people to kind of join the space to help support Solace and Serenity in our gathering digital media presence. So it looks like a low-lived 1 to 3 hours per month to kind of help rotate and support Awakenings on Zoom and YouTube. We're also looking for a photographer on the first Sundays when we gather in person. And then someone to help kind of set up for those in-person gatherings, to help set up the cameras and do sound checks and lighting and all that good stuff. So if you would like to join and support, then please scan this QR code and help out Awakenings. If you would like to receive a weekly newsletter to help you guide through biblical hindrances and towards spiritual growth, then please scan this QR code and you can receive those weekly newsletters to get that guidance as well. And then also, if you want to stay in the loop, you can join Awakenings on GroupMe. Takes GroupMe to 719-582-4417, I believe it says. And you can get the real-time updates and information that the community has. And if you also have an announcement you'd like to share, just send any information and details to info@awakeningsmovement.com, and you can get your latest and greatest happenings in that weekly newsletter. And I believe that is all for our announcements. So with that being said, I will lead us into the community builder. And I think I had a couple things that were kind of floating around in my head, but I think based on a conversation that Tiffany and I had last night, it was an impromptu conversation that just sparked a lot of thought and just wonder and excitement, honestly. So the community builder is like, what recent conversation that you have had with someone that may not have been like pre-planned, like just some off-script conversation that you had with someone that sparked like some excitement, or not even necessarily excitement, but like just got the wheels turning and got you just thinking about like something that in an angle in which you haven't thought before. So case in point, so our daughter Mariah is playing softball at Purdue. She's having a great year. She had a great year last year, and one of Tiffany's Facebook friends just happened to see like a post about Mariah's injury, and then he's trying to produce like a potential like digital card of Mariah, have Mariah be like one of the digital cards he's going to produce. And so like just that whole conversation and walking him through like what Mariah's injury was and how she's doing based on that. And we went through it was a whole spiritual moment, to be honest, like after that. So just kind of going through that just got the wheels turning, and it just brought a lot of excitement around like what's to come and what's kind of going forward for Mariah's life. So are there any conversations that any one of you have had recently that has just sparked something in you? Take your time.
I have one. So yesterday I went to a domino tournament, and I love
What?
playing.
You went to a domino tournament?
Yes, I love playing
My
dominoes.
invite must be in the email somewhere lost.
Well, okay, I'll let you know when the next one is. And so these group of people that I met, I met this one man at another domino tournament. And so he and I befriended each other. And so he started inviting me to his own domino tournament. And I didn't realize 90% of his friends are retired cops. And so I went there yesterday and I was having a conversation with a mutual friend, and I accidentally didn't know. Well, I don't want to say accidentally. I just didn't know my partner's name and I called him another name. And the look that he gave me, he just walked away. So I was having a conversation with the mutual friend. I was telling her what happened, and she just gave me this look. But I said, you know what? You don't have to say anymore. I understand that look. And that was an invitation for me to say, I have lost this firsthand. Let me go home and let me mind my business. I got there at 6:30. I left there at 7:30. That's how quick the game went. And it can get a little rowdy. But just me and her having a conversation, not a nonverbal conversation, told me everything I needed to know. And so I left.
Yeah, I look. We already know how Domino's can get. We know how rowdy. We know how rowdy it is in that space. So that's interesting. Interesting for sure. Anyone else? Anyone else had any random conversations with anyone that just kind of sat with you and got the wheels turning? Well, maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe not. This maybe not the space.
No.
Maybe someone didn't have anything recently that comes up. Oh, Lisa. Yes, ma'am.
So I had this is different than a conversation, but I have a friend that likes experiences, and I got out of my comfort zone and went to this cool tea place where they bring you a list of all the teas and they're all blended, and uh, you get a double-decker plate of your sandwiches and little puffs and little savory and sweet scones, and they're all little tiny. But if you eat them all, you get really full. And normally I wouldn't go to a hoity-toity place with all the, you know. But what was interesting to me is after experiencing that, uh, we went at 1 p.m. and I was satiated the rest of the day because I feel like all the different tastes that I tasted and all the, it's not that I was overfull, but I just was like complete with food in a way that I'm not normally, which intrigued me. And then I kept having visions of what kind of tiny food I would serve to people if I were doing the tea service. And so it surprised me and it inspired me. And so I'll leave it at that. Not a conversation with people, but with food.
Interesting. So it's food, but the portions were like in a tinier portion than they would normally be in.
Yeah, like the
Very interesting.
dessert tray that came out is a little rectangle plate with four tiny desserts, and each one had a punch. Like if you got a big bite, it would be too much. Kind of like,
Mm.
oh. So it was a whole different. I just entered a whole different world, and that was fun.
Super interesting. Thank you for sharing.
So is there going to be a tea party soon at your place, Lisa,
It
with
sounds that
little
way.
appetizers and things?
Believe me, there already has been in my head. I'll let you. You will be the first to know if it comes to fruition.
Well, I'm excited about it.
Thanks.
Thank you, Lisa.
Martin, do we have time for just one more?
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Absolutely.
thanks for framing it and phrasing it the way you did, because that's literally what's happening as my wheels are turning creatively. I think I mentioned to you guys that I'm taking these theater arts classes mainly to cultivate my writing, and one of them includes a spoken word class. And Tiffany, you may have felt a tickle in your spirit over this past week because I actually referenced your play date moment when you shared a spoken word from Teresa, an artist who's actually based here in Atlanta. So in this, at the end of class, I was sharing with one of the other classmates about you bringing up Teresa, and after I had mention, I haven't forgotten you, by the way, Tiffany, by the way, as I'm saying that. So this was all Wednesday. So I shared my poem, got a little teary on one line, like I couldn't even see what I wrote for a moment, and I, cleared my eyes and was able to resume. And our teacher, Devin, said, Roz, I just want you to know, like, you have, we say with the kids, big feelings. And she's like, and I appreciate your willingness and vulnerability to share and show it, because sometimes we're not in a place where we feel like we can, especially even though we're artists and we have all this stuff going on. But I just want you to know I see you. And she was acknowledging it, in her own way, which I appreciated. And at the end, I think her highlighting that may have had something to do, perhaps, with one of my classmates approaching me and saying that she wanted to connect with me beyond the class because she's been thinking about wanting to offer creative classes that can facilitate emotional healing and that sort of thing. And so I was like, oh my goodness, she's speaking my language. And she said, yeah, I just feel like we probably can do some things together. I said, most definitely. She said, I'm thinking like using cardboard. I was like, oh my goodness. I said, I've been saving paper towel rolls and cereal boxes. And I said, I have sketches of concepts of plans in my journals for like exactly that activities that
Mm.
it's like inner introspective reflection, but outer, creative expression and that sort of thing. So that was really cool. And I said, okay. She said, well, yeah, let's get together. So literally my plan was after I zoom out with you guys to like make it more presentable that I can share with other people other than my scribbles and and sketches. And so when you said juices, you said something about got something flowing, however you
Mhm.
reference it. I was like, yes, yes, yes. So thank you for letting me share.
No, thank you for sharing. And it's amazing when like things just align, right? Like
Yeah.
you just come together and you're like this is like this moment was made for us to speak and meet at this time, and it just aligns, man. So it's amazing when it happens. You see it happen in real time. Thank you
Yeah.
for sharing.
Thank
And with that being said, we will move on over to the blessing from my wife, Tiffany. Good morning.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Hope you're having a great Sunday. So, the blessing, as you may or may not know, is not something that person A gives to person B or person B gives to person A. It's something that we already have within us, but we just kind of remind one another of that internal blessing that's inside. Um, and so, Martin already mentioned the conversation that we ended up having last night, and this was with a Facebook friend or acquaintance um, that honestly, I don't even remember how we ended up being connected on Facebook. We only have a few mutual friends, and they're not people that I even see often on Facebook anymore. Um, but anyways, it led to this conversation that on the phone, and we're not normally like big phone talkers, but I think the conversation was probably about an hour and a half or 2 hours long enough for me to like forget about my baked potatoes I had going and like burn them up. I started smelling, so I'm like, oh. Anyways, I was able to, kind of salvage those. They were a little rough, but it was still okay. Um, anyway, so the blessing came from that conversation and also from another person that I communicate with regularly. So I'm more of the messenger this week. I'm not, it's not something that necessarily originated with me. But from that particular conversation with the Facebook acquaintance, he mentioned, well, we found out that he's like an acronym king. So he has an acronym for all these different things. And I always love like when we're having conversations, I never know when God is going to use someone else to deliver a message to me. And so I just kind of lean in, and he had lots of acronyms that were interesting, but there's one acronym I had to write down, and that's what I'm going to share with you. It was an acronym for fight. And so normally when we think about fight, we're thinking about, putting up some kind of resistance or whatever, instead of just being kind of peaceful and calm and going with the flow. But his acronym for fight is faith in God and his timing. And so for me, that takes out the fight that we normally think of and allows us a little to relax a little bit and realizing that if we have faith in God, then we know that things will be done in His timing. And so it also helps me because sometimes at my ripe age, I still think that I'm behind where I should be. And this reminds me that I'm in God's timing. So whatever He has planned for me, He's in charge of that time. I don't have to rush through it, which brings me to the next person who has inspired part of this blessing. She is the organizer of this journaling community that I'm in, and she always says, enjoy the process. And that's, her answer for anytime we're like talking about something that we're maybe feeling a little distressed about, or we're thinking it's going to be a challenge, we're not necessarily looking forward to it. She's like, enjoy the process. And the way she says it, you can almost hear that she has like laughter in her voice about it. And you're like, okay, well, whatever. But these two things together, faith in God and His timing, and enjoy the process, I felt like were fitting. Because, like I said, when we have that faith in God and His timing, then we're not trying to rush through it. And we're also enjoying the process a lot more, not just trying to reach the end and the destination. So, the blessing for today is um, don't forget to have fight and enjoy the process. So don't forget to have fight and enjoy the process. So you guys can come off mute, or you can type it in the chat and share the blessing with everybody else. All right, thanks, guys.
Don't forget to have fight and enjoy the process.
Don't forget to have fight and enjoy the process.
Don't forget to have fight and enjoy the process.
Don't forget to have fight and enjoy the process.
Don't
forget to have fight and enjoy the process.
Don't forget to have fight and enjoy the process. Thank you for that, love. And so now we're going to move on to the contemplative moment by our own Miss Lisa Tenney. Good morning.
Good morning. And this morning, we will take our fight and give it a rest. So, whatever state you are in, I invite you to fully come into awareness of it. And so, look around and see where you are physically. And if you are able to close your eyes, please do so. Taking your gaze from the top of your head and just sweep down this loving gaze over your whole body. Go through the eyes, nose, mouth, chin, your under chin and neck, your shoulders and arms, your heart area, lungs, your belly, the seat where you're sitting, the spine that's holding you up, the hips and the thighs and the knees, the lower legs, the ankles and the feet, and come down to your little toes and just give yourself an inner smile. Be here fully in your body and let it be a happy place. And as you are just kind of putting your awareness on the body, I ask you now to shift to the heart, the seat of all the ways that you connect with yourself and heaven. And it's no mistake that your lungs are right next to the heart. So we breathe in from the heart space together, a long, slow breath in. And pause, and then let that breath out. And on the next breath, I just invite you to imagine the Spirit of God being breathed into your heart. So breathe in, Spirit, and breathe out yourself into the divine space around you. Breathe in, Spirit. And breathe out yourself into the divine. And just staying with the breath and imagining this exchange going in and out as you breathe. And from the very center of your being, your heart, your breath, we breathe again together. A big, slow breath in, all together. And a slow releasing of that same breath. And we return to our space together. If you're ready to open your eyes, and I turn it back over to you, Martin.
Thank you, Lisa. I wasn't quite ready to open my eyes yet. Yeah, thank you for that contemplative moment. And now we're going to move over to Ms. Rebecca for our truth communication.
Thank you. Thank you. If you can make me host, I can share my thing. That was great, Lisa. Sure. Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. That was really good. I almost felt like I was going to take a nap. Okay, let's see here.
Let's see here.
Okay. Okay. Okay, group. Beautiful.
Can you share now? I don't know if I made you.
Yeah, I can share now.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so let me do this. Okay, boom. Right. Where's my mouse? Okay. So welcome to Awakening Solace and Serenity. Our mission. Can somebody read it for me, please?
We equip change makers with the tools to look within and actively respond to daily life from a centered place.
Okay. Our core values is connection, inclusiveness, and love. Our vision is to serve as a global community using contemplative spirituality to heal, renew, and inspire. Welcome to part 2 of Deepening the Well of Truth. Once again, I am nervous. And I'm glad that I'm nervous because that means I have a lot to share. And whew, this is good. Okay. And you know, I'm a science teacher and I love science. So I want to show you this phenomena before I do that. My intention is to create a space to pause, release the weight of old stories, others' perceptions, and breathe in the unknown. The flow, fireballs, pause, and the line of choice. I think in my second life or before, I was a comedian. I was a great comedian because it always come up for me. So I don't know. I get a little shy when I have to stand in front of people and tell my jokes. Okay. Fireballs. So I think maybe the last 2 weeks, there has been fireballs penetrating through our Earth, our planet. And this is one fireball that has came through but kind of disintegrated. And then the second fireball, do y'all see the screen share? Oh, okay.
Yes, we can see your
It's
YouTube
not.
tab.
Yeah, it's not starting. That's okay. I'll just make it do what it do. I don't know. Let me do. Okay, and then how do I? Okay, boom. The second was this fireball came through Houston on the north side and hit somebody's home. And this is the young lady whose home it hit. And this is the rock that was found. And I was just like, oh my God, are we about to have a meteorite shower? Because this is going to be interesting. And so it took me here. And let me tell you what a fireball is. A fireball is a very bright meteor, which happens when a large space rock enters Earth's atmosphere at a high speed and burns, creating a glowing streak of light. And this glowing streak of light happened in California, Arizona, and Nevada. They just saw this, and that's the video I wanted to show you where you saw this big light come through, right? And it's much brighter than a typical shooting star and can sometimes be seen during the day. Most fireballs burn up completely before reaching the ground. Some break apart and explode in the air, causing flash and a loud boom. In a few cases, pieces survive the fall and land on Earth's meteorites, sometimes creating small impact craters. And that's what happened to that woman's house. So the more I was thinking, I'm like, man, you have this planet that is not suspended by anything. We have, and I want to show you this, we have layers of atmosphere that protects our Earth, right? And the one fireball, you have this metasphere. So these are the 5 layers of gases that surround our Earth that protects us. You have the troposphere, the stratosphere, the metasphere, the thermosphere, and the exosphere. The metasphere is a sphere that burns up the fireball. So once it came through, it burnt up, it didn't impact us. But the second one that came through in Houston, it impacted that woman's house, hit it, a loud boom, you have a rock. So the more and more and more and more I thought about it, I was just like, man, planet Earth is like my mind. And I have not been protecting my mind. And so the more I sat with this, I was like, oh, what's happening is for a period of time, and I'm trying to move my slide over, but I can't seem to find my mouse. Okay, let me go back. Let me go here, and I'm just going to do it like this. Okay, so for a period of time, I wasn't protecting my mind. I allowed doubts, fear, and unforgiveness to take hold. When someone said something negative or showed disapproval, I internalized it, believing something was inherently wrong with me. I fell into a cycle of trying to fix myself or please others. And in that loop, my sense of self was dictated by external validation rather than a grounded sense of worth. So here I am, just entertaining so many different thoughts, and I wasn't protecting my mind. And I'm looking at planet Earth, and I'm like, we have all these layers that protect us, and yet something was able to penetrate us. And I was just like, man. And I start to think, I'm like, how many times did I allow so many things to penetrate my mind that caused such an impact on how I moved, make decisions, and I can't even count. So when I saw this, I was just like, oh yeah. So it brought me to this verse. Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind, that by testing you may discern what is the will of God and what is God and acceptable and perfect. And I'm like, well, dang. I grew up in a Baptist church, and the pastor tells you to do all these things about how to serve God, how to serve other people. But in that experience, I never heard with power how to protect your mind. So this is when the mind shift happened, the pause. Be still and know that I'm God. So this was a very, very proud moment, because this picture is when I became a certified yoga teacher. I'm actually 500-hour certified yoga teacher, not just with general practice of yoga, but also yin yoga. I'm also a life year leadership life coach. I've been doing this work for with yoga over 10 years. With all this work I've been doing over 20 years, I'm always in the classroom. I'm always with my students. I'm always in this space of doing the work. And it started with when I became a yoga teacher. This experience was what at the time I needed to help shift my mindset. Learning the tools. The shift didn't happen at once for me. It became more of a practice. And honestly, it just started with being aware. Have anybody ever taken a yoga class, a hot yoga class, and they have you in this position, and all of a sudden you're just like, what? And it's hot, right? And your mind is like, you have like monkey brain, and you're in the downward facing dog, and your forearms are burning, your hips are burning, okay? Then you're in warrior one, then warrior two. And all of a sudden you start feeling these sensations. You're just like, what is this? And how can I leave? And so when I started out, I was telling everybody, come on, let me teach you some yoga. Let me teach you some yoga. Let me teach you some yoga. And they were just looking at me like, are you kidding me, Rebecca? I am not doing this. I said, you need to do this. You need to feel it. You need to quit entertaining your thoughts, and you just have to be still. But how can you be still in pain? How can you be still when your mind is all over the place? And the more I became aware of what was happening in my body, I stopped thinking about what I was thinking, because now I was present in my body. I realized that when I was in self-doubt, my mind was constantly reacting, grabbing onto fear, overthinking every interaction, trying to fix myself, trying to seek approval. I was just thinking to myself, what is going on? What's happening? I'm doing all these great things, and yet internally, I'm struggling. I'm trying to fix things. I'm trying to seek approval here. I'm trying to do this. I'm like a monkey, just everywhere. And one day it stopped when I was in, and this, I hate this pose. This is the worst pose that I've ever experienced, but it was the airplane pose. And in this pose, I had to really focus on not falling. And the more I focused on not falling, the more I was aligned to what God needed to share with me. I was able to hear God. And I was like, okay. I had to sit with myself. I had to really be quiet, and I had to think about it. And my body was talking to me. I felt God was talking to me through my body. So through yoga and the tools of the light year leadership, I began to interrupt the pattern. I started learning how to pause, how to breathe, because in yoga, you're like, it's like I don't know if you're trying, for me, I was trying to compete with everybody. I'm like, well, how did they do that? Okay, well, let me try to get in this position, and let me try to hold it. And I wasn't breathing, I was holding my breath. And I realized when I breathe, I can go into the position and I can be still. So I was able to learn how to come back to myself instead of immediately reacting to everything around me. I came more aware when I was entertaining doubt, fear, unforgiveness, and I realized I had a choice. And the more I thought about it, I'm like, wait a minute, I don't have to feel this way. This is not about me. This is about the other person. So why am I making it about me? And I was aware of that because of the practice of learning how to be still. Finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. It was about renewing my mind daily as soon as I get up. Because I will have 1,000 thoughts before I get up in the morning and start my day. And I had to declare, okay, what's the truth and the lie, what I talked about last week? And then I said, I would get on my bed and I would just sit there and I'll just allow the thoughts to come. And once the thoughts left, then I was still. And that's a form of meditation. And then once I meditated, then I was ready to go about my day, because for me, meditation is a tool to help me be aware of what I'm going to entertain when I get to school, because I deal with so many different students, so many different adults. And sometimes I'm just like, ooh. And then I have to pause because I already know I'm about to react, which brings me to this tool, the line of choice. This is a tool that I learned with the Light Year Leadership Program that I've been in. This will be my 5th year with this program. And this program has been so phenomenal, not just coaching me, but more so coaching others. And a tool that I learned was called the line of choice. There's between choice and reaction. And remember, because I started with yoga, I learned how to be awareness. That was my way to be aware of my body sensations. When I felt uncomfortable, I can feel it in my body. And so when I was in that position, the airplane, I was like, oh my gosh, I can feel it. I'm sweating. I'm catching an attitude. I'm looking at the instructor like I'm about to slap her because we're in this position too long. We need to stand up, but nope, fire. You got to get through the fire. So I learned by being aware of what I was feeling and shifting my mindset to surrender into that pose. With me surrendering, I learned how to be more aware of the body sensations that were happening in my body when I'm happy and when I am distraught. So this right here, what became my second tool that I would use. When I'm below the line, I feel guilty. I would feel guilty, be judgment. I had fear, doubt, and in my body, I would be tense. I'll have a headache. My shoulders and my hips are what reacts quicker than anything. My ears burn when I'm very upset. I can't even think. And when I feel those sensations, I step away. I've learned to step away to reassess what I'm feeling and to reset. I give myself permission to reset. So I'll walk away from anybody if I'm feeling any type of way. When I have discernment, when I'm loving, trusting, giving, even humor. Like there's times when I'm in the classroom, I start singing to the students. I'm like, today we are learning. And I go through all of that because I'm happy. I feel good in my body and I'm loose. That means I'm loose. I'm carefree. And when I'm carefree, I'm aligned with God because I'm in my higher self. And so, and the kids look at me and they're like, why is she singing? I'm singing because I want to. Try it with me. and then they start singing. And so it breaks whatever tension that's in the classroom, it breaks it up. And then I'm having fun. The kids are having fun because I'm aligned to my higher self. What do you notice in your body that tells you whether you're reacting or making a choice? Do you feel tension and heaviness or a sense of calm and openness? And I'll let anybody come off the, what do you call this thing? The microphone to talk.
Good morning, everyone. Um, there are many signals that my body sends when I'm not in the right place.
Mm-hmm.
Something. So one, I get a queasiness in my stomach. So like that, really, that gut feeling is a real thing. I can get nauseous.
Mm-hmm.
And if I have knowingly or unknowingly placed myself in a space and I continue and I ignore my body, I feel tension. I carry it in my back and in my shoulders. So if I have to get a massage or go see my chiropractor, and they'll ask me, like they can tell the difference. They're like, what's going on in your life? What's going on? What have you been doing? So those things.
But what about when you feel, how do you feel when you're calm and open?
So when I'm calm and open, it's like the energy is flowing. My heart is really happy. I just feel really light and free. And probably like what you said, you have like this joy where you're laughing, like for no reason, like life is just fun and joyful. So that's how I feel.
Anybody else?
Hey, Becca.
Hey.
I I would say, well, something I noticed several years ago was if I knew I needed to do something and I didn't do it and I sat on it for a long time, I would get cold sores in my mouth,
Mm.
like stress cold sores, because it was like it seemed to be when I needed to make a decision and I knew what I needed to do, but I didn't want to do that. Like I was trying to make a choice outside of alignment with my body, and my mouth would let me know, and it's very annoying, very painful. um, so I didn't notice the pattern for a while, and then at some point I was in a journaling workshop, and the question was to dialogue with a physical symptom that your body has had and see what it says. And like, so I asked my mouth, it seems so weird, but like I asked my mouth why it was doing that, and that's immediately what I heard.
Mm. That's wow. That might be a nice little journal thing, another journal adventure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it was a workshop I was in on grief actually, and
Mm.
but randomly that was the symptom that immediately came to mind for me because I had noticed it several times in the years prior.
Mm. For me, my mobility in my hips becomes a challenge
Mm,
when I'm
yeah.
stressed out real bad, or and it's something that you're right, when I'm not, when I don't want to make a decision, that's when my body starts to scream. And so when I go against um, my higher self, when I go against myself, my body is like, oh, you're going against me today? Oh, okay, I got you. Watch this. Pow. Watch that. Pow. I'm like, okay, let me get realigned again. Anybody else?
I've started getting acid reflux. And I thought it
Mm,
was just like my diet. So I'm doing all this stuff to change my diet and making sure I'm not eating too late. But then I noticed I just started doing some deep breathing on my just doing it kind of intuitively, and then it went away. And so yeah, I was like, oh, but it starts out similar to like you all have been saying, like in my shoulders and my hips, and I'm not breathing. But then, yeah, recently it's turned into dang on acid reflux. It's annoying.
our our bodies speak to us, and my body was speaking to me for a very long time and showing up in different ways where I'm thinking, what's wrong with me? What's going on? Do I have high blood pressure? I go to the doctor. Nope, you don't have high blood pressure. Do you are you diabetic? Oh, I got checked for that. Nope, I'm not diabetic. So it was something else. It was the emotions. It was the stuff that I was carrying. Um, God says, "For my yoke is easy to bear, and the burden I give you is light." The burden I give you is light, and I was holding on to all the burden. I was not, again, and I'm going to go up here, I was not protecting my mind. If we have these levels of atmospheres to protect planet Earth from everything, even though that meteorite hit that house, she was still protected. Then why am I not protecting my mind by using the tools that I now know to keep me aligned to my higher self? And so those are the type of questions I would ask myself when I was feeling like I was below the line. When I learned to slow down and pay attention, my body began to show me whether I was acting from a place of choice or simply reacting. The body is always speaking. It's about learning how to listen. And it took me a very long time. For me, I think it took a very long time. But I do believe, like Tiffany said, God's timing is perfect with everything. The good and the bad based on your perspective. And so as I began to listen to my body, even watching the foods I ate, what was causing me ailments, or even my thoughts. Oh my goodness. Um, there was there there is an award that I just received. They're going to award me. It's the NSTA Shell Teacher Development Award. They're flying me out to California to receive it. Prior to me even throwing my name in the hat, I was already like, oh, I don't have the qualifications. I'm already picking myself apart. I'm like, what am I doing this? There's nobody else doing this but me. So then what do I need to capture? And that goes back to the truth and a lie. I'm like, that was a lie. I said, I am overqualified. Not just qualified, I'm overqualified. And because I'm overqualified, I can do all things through Jesus Christ that strengthened me. And so I had to change that lie into the truth of what I knew. When I even said that, my body, I started to have anybody ever got like the bubble guts where you get nerves real bad and then you got to go to the restroom? It's like you got to dump them nerves out. That's what happens to me all the time. And that was happening to me. And I'm like, oh, no, 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 no. I got to capture that. And once I got past that part, threw my name in the hat, boom, a month later, I get a call and I was like, congratulations. And I had to sit back and think, how much more, God, do you have for me if I just give you my burdens? Be still and know that I am God. To not to lean to my own understanding, but to trust God in everything. Because I can't control man. And I realized man was controlling me because I gave them permission. I gave them permission because I wasn't protecting my mind. And God says, renew it daily. I'm always listening to myself. The line of choice helps me to see the difference between when I'm reacting and when I'm choosing. When I choose with intention, I'm connected to my best self. My best self is when I'm telling jokes. My best self is when I'm laughing, encouraging other people. My best self is when you can see a plethora of pens on my desk and you're like, "Can I have one?" Sure, because I'm giving. That's my best self. Taking responsibility for my thoughts, actions, and direction. As I learn the shifts that lift me, I can recognize when I've fallen below that line and gently bring myself back. Because when I fall below the line, I'm like, okay, well, what am I doing? And sometimes I can't catch it. So that's why community is so important, because I have a community of women that when I'm having conversations and they hear me, they change that language to remind me that you're below the line. They don't know that I use this tool, but it's for me. I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I thinking about? Let me flip this. And I realize why community is so important, because God did not create us to be by ourselves. He created us to be in community so community can create and keep creating spaces for safety, to keep creating spaces to be authentic, to keep creating spaces where people are able to just be without judgment, but to experience love. And community of love is the best. And you're talking to someone who would always isolate because I gotta figure this out. I gotta put this burden on me. I gotta, and God, what are you doing? I'm gonna show you. What's that statement? I can show you better than I can tell you. And that's how God has always been with me. I can show you better, I can tell you. To bring me back to myself, to a place of clarity, ownership, and choice. That is what deepening the well has been for me. And thank you. I am done.
Woohoo! So, Rebecca, I want to say,
Beautiful, Becca.
yes, beautiful, Rebecca. Beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. It took me, I always think that there's nothing that God won't do, but it's what you say to yourself first is how God will show you. Is this what you're saying to yourself? Okay. So now I say to myself, all is well, even though I don't know the outcome. All is well. All is well.
Well, Rebecca, thank you for being a part of my community because, y'all, Rebecca is the hardest yoga class I have ever taken in my life. And me, with my little self, was in doing the poses that Rebecca requested, and I, in my frustration in my body, yelled out, "Well, you do it." Because you know how people, when they coach you and do the classes, they're just standing there telling you to do stuff. And Rebecca, in her lovely self, smiled at me and said, "Okay," and did it. And so then I had to be quiet. And she helped me breathe through it and do the pose. And every time after that, she made me do the pose that I didn't like. She was like, "Here it comes. We're getting ready to do it." So I like, Rebecca, that you brought up the point of community because I believe that community is definitely important in those spaces where we feel like we can't do it or we're having a challenge. Then we have someone that loves us and walks alongside us and is a reflection in a mirror and saying, you can. I see, this is how I see you. I see you how God sees you. So that's what I want to say. Thank you um, for being that person for me also.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that because you are that person for me amongst other people that's on this call and whatnot.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Rebecca.
Yeah.
This is the stuff that they don't teach you when you're growing up, right? This is the stuff that you learn later, like much in our life. Like if we were able to impart that upon our kids, like the sooner the better. Like these are the type of things that they need that they don't know they need. You know, like what's the saying? If you think you can, or if you think you can't, like either way you're right. So like that little voice in your head that we, and that little voice that talks to us, we have to be very careful of knowing and understanding where that voice is coming from and what to believe, right? Because like sometimes that voice in your head is not your voice. Like I talk about this all the time. Like just because a thought comes through your mind doesn't mean that that originated from you. So you have to be mindful when it's a voice that is speaking negatively about yourself, or it's a voice of fear. You have to make sure you don't own that. Like that's not necessarily your voice.
Right.
So anyway, that I don't want to continue to go down this road, but this is beautiful. Thank you so much, Rebecca, for sharing.
No. Thank y'all for being open. As you're talking, is one of the things I tell my students, if you don't hear anything, you're going to know the truth about who you are. And when you know the truth about who you are, then when you begin to get those type of thoughts, you have to align it. And if it's not aligned, then that's not who you are.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's a great point. Thanks again.
Oh, no problem. Any comment or questions?
Yeah. Anybody have questions?
This was really good, Rebecca. Like God told me some years ago a message just listening through to somebody else about the importance of the words that we speak. So I know for myself I can't just say anything willy-nilly because, words are very important and they're creative. But you kind of reminded me of that even more so when you said the first thing that you say to yourself is how God will show you. And so now I'm like, oop, that's an additional level because I'm like, now I got to be extra, extra, extra careful about what it is that I allow myself to speak. So thank you for that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Okay. Anything else before we move it to Martin? Thank you.
Well, if no one else has any questions, thanks again, Rebecca. We love you. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you.
All right, now I'm going to move on over to the offering moment. So new at Awakenings, we have Text to Give. It's a really quick and simple way to send a text and allow you to receive a link that you can then share. So if you want to, you can text Awaken and then the amount to 832-481-4434, and it allows you to send a one-time gift or a recurring twice monthly. So every gift fuels our contemplative work and allows us to create spaces that heal, renew, and inspire. So at Awakening, your gift is an investment in our community. Here are a few other ways that you can give via Cash App at Awakenings Movement. On Venmo, it's Awakening Inc. And then the secure give is Awakenings Inc. And currently, for March, our budget is 6724, and currently for the March giving, we are at $6,073. So thanks again, everyone, for your generosity. And we know that every dollar received is stewarded wisely, and we thank you again. And I think that may be it for the offering moment. This has been wonderful. Thank you, God. Thank you, Facebook. We're going to sign off. We hope that your day is blessed and that you continue to speak positively among yourself. You continue to fight for yourself and trust in God's timing. We thank you.
Are y'all Facebook?
Stopping it now. Can someone confirm that we're off of Facebook? Yeah, I think we're good here. Okay.
Any prayers or anything?
I don't know. Now okay. All right, we're good now.
Do anybody need anything? Any prayers, jokes?
Hi, Rebecca, I guess we can call it a prayer. I give you a delayed feedback. Or and to Martin as well. I think my pain level today is slowing down my response time, so I'm trying to get caught up. But I was looking forward to your sharing all week. And I do think that obviously when you're nervous, it must be an indicator that you're about to do something good. So, because you were nervous last week and you said so much that resonated. And I think about the protecting our minds and the ways that our bodies are giving those signals all of the time that are the indication to protect our minds and to protect our autonomy. And that's such as we know, like I think about the rest is resistance, like I think it's Trisha Percy's work about, and so many other things, that it's our daily moments of listening to the body and the way that's connected to having our own agency. And that we aren't just to receive what everything that's going on and be directed in any direction, that it is like our sacred responsibility to be living our own agency, and our bodies will continue to remind that joy is how we're meant to be living, that health is how we're meant to be living. And I think about that the way that my symptoms and the way that my body I've experienced it, the way it pulled me into a relationship with me, that I'm so grateful for, because it is like when a friend or a partner brings something to you to talk about and people say, I don't like conflict or I don't want to fight. And I think it's actually a gift when someone comes to you with a way to be closer and a thing that can be created that may not have been there if you didn't go through that fight. And I think all these moments where I'm good with just hanging out with me has so much to do with the way my body pulled me back and just saying, well, I'm going to listen. Because it's not just a negative feeling in my body. It's also my body saying, hey, let's get closer. So it's really, I appreciate all of what you shared. I'm kind of glad I'm not in your yoga classes. So I'm just going to be glad that you all are willing to do that. I've been to like one hot yoga class and that was fine. And to Martin, your question about what conversations have lit you up was so divinely timed for conversations that had happened this weekend. So like that was your question was a conversation starter in me. And then what Raj shared and talking about having big feelings, which is like I fly a flag of constantly having big feelings. And it's like, why doesn't everyone want everything to matter all the time? But I had just had this beautiful conversation with someone where we had kind of both over time had these not coincidental moments of being vulnerable with each other, and sharing some things in our lives. Like we're born in completely different parts of the world, kind of on paper would look completely different, and have found out that our lives were so similar, but also had this incredible conversation about how closely linked our visions for what we were wanting to create in the world were. And it had been built upon all of these kind of unusual moments of willingness to be open. And it was just so exciting. So I was like, kind of like, I couldn't say anything to you, Martin, because I had so much to say. But so thank you to both of you. And thank you to this whole group for being a place to look forward to all week.
Thank you.
So that's my prayer. That's my gratitude prayer request.
Yeah. Anybody else before we go to get some lunch?
Give us a song, Becca. Sing us out.
Let me think. Oh my gosh, you put me on the spot, Rob. Look, because
it's not often she speeches though.
Okay, so when I sing, I don't know words, so I'm a good mumbler. Today, sunshine. Yeah, so that's all I got. That's Kirk Franklin. Today, that's all I got.
That's what the Awakenings album is going to sound like. We put out the Awakenings chorus, and it's just a bunch of us mumbling and having tech difficulties with dogs barking.
Yes.
Yes, Brian, and it will be a bop.
Yeah, that's right. It will be a bop.
Yes, the sunshine. Yes, the sunshine.
Okay, thank you, Becca. Appreciate it.
No problem.
Keep your little light shining. You can do a remix and you can this a light of mine.
Yeah. This
Thank
has
you
been
guys. Everyone, y'all have a great week. We love y'all. Thank y'all. Take care.
Mm-hmm.